Okay, imagine this. A place that's like a living time capsule of human evolution. Researchers are saying, look deep into Africa, specifically the Central African Republic, or CRR.
That's right.
Because right there in people's DNA, their genetic code, there are clues stretching back tens of thousands of years.
Yeah, long before recorded history.
Right, before the pyramids, before farming, even before humans really spread out across the planet. It's almost like humanity's original fingerprint.
It really is a biological fingerprint.
And today, we're going to really dig into that, what it means for, well, for all of us, past, present, and future.
Yeah, it's actually pretty amazing just how deep this legacy goes. The scientists have discovered that some indigenous groups in CIR, specifically the Aka and Baka hunter-gatherers.
Right, sometimes historically called pygmy groups, though that term is complex.
Exactly. They're diverse peoples with their own identities, but their genetic lineages. They're among the oldest found in modern humans anywhere.
Oldest? Like how old are we talking?
Well, genetic studies are suggesting their ancestors branched off from other African populations somewhere around 60,000 to 70,000 years ago.
60 to 70,000?
Yeah, so that's significantly earlier than those major migrations out of Africa that populated the rest of the world.
That timeline is just staggering. So, okay, what specifics really show how unique this genetic heritage is? How different is it, say, compared to the average person?
Well, it's the sheer amount of ancestral diversity they've retained. It's quite remarkable. One study found that these Central African hunter-gatherer groups have over 10% more ancestral genetic diversity than, the global average.
10% more. Wow.
And get this, some of the mitochondrial DNA, the part passed down just from mother to child.
Right, the maternal line.
That DNA, in some SAR populations, it dates back over 150,000 years.
150,000. Seriously?
Seriously, it puts it right up there with the oldest maternal lines ever recorded, anyway on Earth.
Okay, to really help us wrap our heads around that diversity, I read this comparison that just blew my mind.
Oh, yeah.
That the genetic differences between two Aka hunter-gatherers who aren't related, those differences can actually be greater than the differences between, say, a European person and a Native American person.
That's absolutely right. It's a powerful way to illustrate it.
It just completely flips the script on how you might think about genetic variation.
Exactly. And it connects to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
It's this strong reminder that Africa isn't some genetically uniform place. Far from it.
No kidding.
It is, in fact, the most genetically diverse continent.
Yeah.
And CAR. It's sitting right at the crossroads of all that incredible diversity.
So this is obviously fascinating from a historical perspective, understanding our origins. But you mentioned resilience. How could this ancient diversity be like a blueprint for resilience today in a practical way?
Right. It's not just about history. This diversity holds critical genetic variations linked to things like immune system strength, how we metabolize food, how we adapt to our environment.
Okay, like specific examples.
Yeah, so certain genetic variants, alleles found often in CR populations, seem to give people increased resistance to some really tough tropical diseases. Things like malaria, sleeping sickness, certain parasites.
Serious threats in that region.
Definitely. So imagine using insights from those genes to maybe help develop new vaccines or therapies for metabolic issues that affect people globally, or even understand how humans might cope with, say, future climate change impacts.
So like a living library of survival strategies.
Precisely. It's potentially vital for global health research going forward.
Okay, here's the tricky part. This incredible scientific potential, it bumps right up against some really sensitive issues, doesn't it? Especially when you're talking about communities that might be vulnerable.
Absolutely. It immediately raises the question, who actually benefits from all this research, from these discoveries? I mean, CRR is one of the world's least developed countries. And historically, these communities, they've often been studied, but they haven't always seen the direct benefits from that research.
Right, you hear that criticism.
Well, yeah, the term that sometimes gets used is helicopter science. Researchers fly in, collect samples, publish their papers, maybe groundbreaking papers, and then they leave.
And the local community.
Often sees very little change, no direct health improvements necessarily, maybe no support for building up their own scientific capacity, and the intellectual property, the patents that might come from their genes that could end up owned by foreign companies or institutions.
Which just reinforces existing inequality.
They can, yeah.
And that helicopter science idea, it really highlights a power imbalance, which must make things like informed consent incredibly complicated.
Hugely complicated. I mean, think about explaining the full implications of genetic research, what happens to the data, who might profit, the potential long-term uses to someone in a remote rural community who might not have the same context or literacy around these scientific concepts.
Are they truly informed when they give consent?
That's the crucial question. Are they consenting based on a full understanding by, modern ethical standards? And then you layer on top the political instability in CIR.
Which makes oversight really difficult.
Exactly. Enforcing ethical guidelines, ensuring accountability. It's just much, much harder in that context. These aren't easy problems to solve. There's no single answer, and different groups are trying to figure out frameworks that balance the science with people's rights and sovereignty.
This really does force you, the listener, to grapple with some enormous questions, like who should own this data, who controls it,
Yeah.
and how on earth do we protect communities from potential exploitation while still allowing science to move forward, science that could potentially help everyone.
And there's another layer, too. Is this genetic heritage a kind of national resource? Does it belong to the Central African Republic? Or is it more fundamental, like part of our shared human legacy that should be open to all?
So many layers.
It really makes you think about the complexities. But ultimately, what scientists are saying is that this genetic legacy in CAR, it might be one of the most important keys we have. Not just for understanding where we all came from.
Our origins.
Yeah, but maybe even for ensuring our future survival. It's potentially that significant.
So we leave you with this thought, this incredible genetic treasure. Should it be wide open, accessible to researchers everywhere for the potential benefit of all humanity? Or does it need careful protection, safeguarded primarily for the people who actually carry these ancient lineages?
It's a huge debate.
It really is. It touches on identity, ownership, ethics, and really the future of what it means to be human and how we manage our collective knowledge and well-being. Lots to think about.